Hello and welcome to Ooled Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so our card today is the Hermit. Can't lie. Love the Hermit card. Yes, love that energy. Okay. Let's take a look and see where these tea leaves take us today. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Oh, shoot. Sometimes that happens. They just fall out. Okay. So immediately, I can't get my eyes off of this person riding a goat. Oops. This person riding a goat. And you can see the head of the goat. You can see the person sitting right on top. Now, over here, I immediately noticed we also have, it looks like a person wearing a dress or a robe. They have a child, and they have the head of maybe an elk, a deer, something like this. So we're really in these kind of animal spirits today. Very much this kind of wilderness spirit energy. Now here we have our Hermit, it looks like. We have the Hermit, and immediately it reminds me of a moth. Something like Mothman, maybe. But I do have this kind of... It's a sense of really being, drawn into the light. Now, the Hermit, we know, he carries the lamp of illumination. Okay, this lantern that lights the way. So I feel that there is really this sense of kind of at the very core of your being, way down in there, just pulling you towards some kind of spirituality, a need to work on self. Like there's this immense feeling of there's something here that needs to be investigated. I'm not on autopilot right now, right? So many of our days, weeks, months, we spend just kind of going through the motions of things, like the routines, the mundane. Get up, get ready, go to work. Come home, get ready, go to bed, and over and over and over again. And then there are times in our life where, something starts to, it's almost, I feel like it's a pull, a tickle, some kind of, itch that you can't scratch. And you gotta get in there and figure out what is going on here. What is it that I'm needing? What am I looking for? What am I, what has come dislodged, disjointed in my being, right? Now, this might feel very much like inspiration. Maybe you're out there looking for a new book to read, or, a new intellect to listen to, a guru, a holy person, a religious teacher, a spiritual teacher, whatever it is. I feel like there is this real distinct urge. Now we also have that Hermit energy. So I feel like there's this sense of maybe not being drawn into say like a new congregation, or you're looking for a new spiritual community or something like this. Not exactly that, no. But I feel that you are kind of out there looking within self, looking for self. There's a quieting happening in your life here. I feel the distinct sense, if you can imagine, the hermit, they have a hut, right? Maybe it's built into a tree. I like to think of them living in the middle of a tree for some reason, being drawn out into the night, having this feeling, this pull. Go, grab your lantern. And as that door shuts, your hand is still there on the knob, and you're pulling it shut, and you're raising your lantern out into the night. The beginning of an unknown journey. That's where we're at. Letting go of some of that old stuff. Closing that door behind you. And knowing that there is a vastness right in front of you. So much potential. Will it be an easy journey? No. I'll say it to you. No, it won't. Is it necessary? It seems like it. It feels like it. Do you get to that point in your life sometimes where everything you've accomplished, you've set your life up in such a way, things are running fairly smoothly, but there's just something. It's not enough. It's maybe too much. It's not right. It doesn't feel like this is the life I should be in. Maybe I've been in this life for a long time, and what the heck, you know, everything is familiar, but somehow it doesn't feel like it did yesterday or the day before that. There's a sense of a little bit of dis-ease here. Not disease, dis-ease, right? The lack of ease. And I feel you going out into that night. Searching. Now, we talked about, we have the deer elk spirit, okay? We have that, and what was the other? Let me look up here. Oh, yeah, so we have the person riding the goat, okay? So I do feel like this has to be surrounded by spirit and spiritual emanations. We have what is probably a high priest, high priestess, hierophant, some kind of devotee. When I see a person with an animal head, I know that this is usually kind of, like a composite being, a being of devotion, right? To whatever the head has to do with. Now, the head of the deer is the most sacred one. Or the deer in general is most sacred. The elk, most sacred. Also, because we have antlers, this is like a stag, maybe. So then it tells me probably most likely a hierophant. Or, it's not sex, okay? It's not gender specific. But the hierophant is related to the high priest, okay? So a more rigid and set system of belief. Now, the high priestess also exists within systems, right? But functions mostly off of intuition, off of knowing, wisdom through functional application. And also just following the natural movement of things. The Hierophant, on the other hand, this is a learned person. This is a person who studies the books, who follows the traditions, who, adheres to these strict tenets and dogmas and so on, right? Much more formal. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, there is a draw towards finding your routine. Maybe even finding like a sacred text for yourself. Now there are so many. You maybe even will write your own. There's not just the Abrahamic books, right? The Torah, the Bible, the Quran. These are beautiful, very important works, of course. But we're not limited to these. There are a lot of treaties, grimoires, musings. One I'll share with you, The Madman by Gibran. That's one of my holy texts. The Divine Pymander, another one. I have quite a few. But I share this only because, we find holiness where we do. It doesn't have to be overtly religious or spiritual, but we find it and we know it is for us. And I feel like you are on that journey. You're finding the things, the fragments of information that speak to you. You are building your holy temple. You are devoted to that process. And I do believe that you will find things that help you bring that order to your spiritual work. I feel that that's important to you. Now, we have the person riding the goat. So I also feel like there is a sense of a lot of magic in your life. And I think that you also have the probably innate ability to create, manifest. You're very, very intellectual. You are somebody who is good at, I feel like maybe memorizing. You're good at memorizing things. You are really good at noticing patterns and numbers and symbols and so on. And also good at remembering where you have seen similar things, so you can kind of weave together your understandings. You are most definitely an archetype in your own life. Not archetype, sorry. Architect. You are many archetypes, right? Architect. You're not somebody who just steps into something that's already been created, prescribed. This is the system. You just step into it and you do it the way that they say you should. No, not for a Pisces. You might partake in a system. You might join a congregation or whatever. A spiritual movement or religious movement, but within, you are doing your own work. You are having your own relationship with the spirit of the thing. You're not just kind of going through the movements and adhering to. No, you are somebody who is a world creator. You create atmosphere. You create, the movements, the acts and scenes of your life. You are intentional. And so I feel that this is a time where whatever was before this, whatever you were doing even just a month ago, it doesn't make sense anymore. It's not fulfilling. It's like a stream has changed course. It's hard to believe that that could happen, but it does. And you might think, well, I have it all together. I like my life. Everything's cool. But there's been a seed planted in there somewhere. And there is a sense of maybe not huge discord, but there is a sense of discord. And so ready yourself. Open yourself. Be there with yourself. Because this will be important. This shift. This is an exciting time to be seeking, to be exploring, to be going out into that night. Now, I want to just look at this one last thing on here. We have a person sitting here in a devotional, maybe kind of meditative posture, okay? So I think, you know, and I will always say this, but establishing some kind of meditative routine, breath work, active imagination. I love active imagination. To me is so the thing about meditation, let me just say, the thing about meditation is the world we live in, so busy, right? We always have stimuli around us. Very rarely do we not, unless you're living a very quiet and contemplative life, which if you are, yeah, awesome. I hope one day to be at that point. But meditation can be hard, and it can be kind of like this thing that you begin to do, and you try to stay in it and stay in the routine, but it feels almost like, I don't know, you're piddling away your time, or you're sitting there, you're shifting around, you just can't get comfortable, you can't stay focused or unfocused or whatever. But then there are things like active imagination, and I think it's a good way to kind of learn to quiet the outside before you make that full plunge into a life of meditation. It's a good bridge. It's not the same, but it is a place where you can learn to sit still. And it is not unlike daydreaming or fantasizing in some ways, but there is more intentionality there, okay? It is also, you learn to get to a place where the input just kind of comes. You don't necessarily have to. Now, active imagination is kind of this idea of using an imagined space and the things that fill that space, the people, the actors of the scenario, going into it and kind of working through or processing through, whatever it is that you're focused on, whatever you're coming in there with. But it comes more naturally over time. And then you'll just start to really experience kind of its own automation, I guess would be is kind of what I think of it as. But so it is kind of a meditation in a way. Like you could think of like a guided meditation. You've listened to the YouTubes and things probably, right? Where they guide you through a walk in the woods or something like this. So using this with yourself without prompting from an outside source and using active imagination to, seek some clarity, seek some answers, commune with the great unknown, right? And so, and then maybe at some point, if you are interested, then getting into deeper forms of meditation and breath work and posture and mudras and passes and everything else, right? But I see this, and I think it's important to establish at least this practice where you can. Okay, if you can do it every day, great. If you can do it, I think in transcendental meditation, which is kind of a repeating of mantra, I think it's twice a day. You're supposed to do it in the morning and in the afternoon or evening, I think. So, getting into even twice a day, that would be awesome. But beginning easily. And for me, because I'm a person, my brain barely shuts off even when I'm sleeping. Doing something that feels like I'm really kind of active in that space. That's why I really like active imagination. So go and check it out. Go look into it. Look into the technique. I challenge you to do a little bit of reading on it. It might be something that you find really useful. Really useful. Okay, so we have 40 as a number. We also have, I have 4 people coming together for some kind of maybe dinner, celebration. You can see them down here. Up here, they're kind of spread out. So I feel that there is some kind of event coming up. Maybe I'm seeing a bird and I see a heart beneath. So I wonder if maybe this is like a pregnancy. If somebody in your life is having a child, maybe there are, like a special dinner that everybody's getting together to celebrate. Or this could be like an engagement or a wedding coming up. Whatever it is, it feels like coming together. People that you are beloved with, but you don't live near each other. So I feel like there's some travel here. So we also have 115 as a number. And I almost feel like there is this sense of right at the end, these difficult things love to come up, don't they? There's a sense of being banished, maybe from the family, or it almost feels like when you were younger, maybe you didn't do what your family wanted you to do. Maybe they wanted you to go to college and, get a good job and all this. And you decided, you know what, I'm just going to go work. I'm going to date. I'm going to, whatever. I'm just trying to think of what would make a family upset, right? But I do feel like there's this sense of almost kind of being told you can't come home, right? You're not moving back in. You're going to figure it out yourself. This kind of tough love. Now, I think that you flourished anyways, right? You figured it out for yourself. But I do feel like there's this part of your being that almost feels abandoned. And even if you had a wonderful childhood, and everything was fine, and you have a good relationship with your family, or, maybe they have transcended now. Maybe you're, in your elder years now. But you look back and you think, yeah, like I feel like I was put out by my family. They turned their backs on me for a while until I did figure it out. And maybe that looks like, yeah, well, they were doing the right thing because I did figure out. They knew that I could do it. But there's still this fracture there. This feeling of where I thought there was unconditional love, this kind of tough love, or, just kind of you do as we say, or you're not allowed to be here, I think that it was a wound that you still carry with you. And even if it's like not in the forefront of your thinking, right, your consciousness, it lingers there. And I think that it actually has influenced how you have relationships with other people. And I think that this is a thing that has come up, and I think this is partially about like why you were on the spiritual journey. Looking for a sense of fullness, of whole. To be wholly loved, to love wholly, right? To be able to feel like something is so profoundly there that it could never leave, right? It won't ever dissipate. It won't ever fall apart. The conditions will not lead to a breakdown of union or connection or bond. And often we do look for this in the divine because the divine is ever present, isn't it? There is an unconditional love in the love of God or goddess or divinity, the cosmos, whatever you experience it as. And so all this kind of makes sense to me. And I think that a lot of us have this wound. It might even be that we all have it in one form or another, right? And so taking care of that inner child, being the one that shows up for yourself, and extending that onto your own children and their children, your grandchildren, to the people in your life that you really, truly care for. And reminding yourself what that felt like, to be almost rejected in a way. Okay, Pisces, we're going to go through. We're going to look at the divine doors, and I'm going to stop where it feels right. Okay, this is a very extravagant door. Look at that. It's all its kind of pomp and beautiful little embellishments. It's an expensive door there. All right, it says freedom flows. Don't hold yourself back from worldly freedom. Dream grand things for divine, sacred reasons. Yes, let it flow, right? Dream as big as you can. All right, Pisces, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I'd love to hear from you. I read them all, and they mean the world to me. Let's see. Other than that, Pisces, yeah, I think that's it. We have storms today. The power went out earlier for a little bit, and it's back now, obviously. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope that you are safe and it's not too hot or too cold if you're in the southern hemisphere. I hope it's just right. We're getting ready for that solstice. It's coming. So if you'd like to share what you like to do for the solstice, what are your plans? I'd love to hear about it. And other than that, we'll talk in a few days. All right. Good night.